And at what point do you start thinking, it's time to move on and leave government service behind? And what made you want to leave it behind? How long were you thinking about leaving before you actually left? Years.
Yeah. The last couple of years, I was frustrated. I think that, the agency was frustrated with me. Same. Like I was burnt out. I'd done 43 rotations or something like that in 9 years. I was burnt. Like I was just burnt. I was constantly gone. I was gone, 300 days a year. I didn't really have a life. I wanted to start a family. And, it was kind of a mutually agreed upon terms for me to leave because I was going to get fired either way.
Sounds mutual to me.
Yeah. And so, I quit before, most of the time I just tell people I got fired because it's easier. But it's, I quit before that day could happen. And it was
why was there something that happened that they were like, this needs to move on, or something that you saw as like, oh yeah, I'm moving on as soon as I can, or
lots, like there were just lots of different things where, when I was running a selection program over there for a while and, wasn't making a lot of friends, because I was also vetting guys for their future employment for the organization as well. So it was the guys that had been working there also had to come through my course to keep their jobs, which, when you're telling people they're not qualified to be in the position they're at, doesn't lend itself well. I had managed to get in a physical altercation on one of my trips with a couple other guys. And they were using that trip, so we got basically jumped in Israel. That was it was 13 years ago, I guess. And we got in this fight with a bunch of Russians out there, right downtown in Jerusalem.
What?
Yeah. And I've actually never told this story. So we got in this fight.
Like at a bar?
No, we were coming home from the bar. It was like 2:00 in the morning. We were crossing the road. And a car came screaming down this alley and almost hit one of the guys. And they piled out. And we fucking went to throwing blows right there in the downtown Jerusalem. And the guys that were out there, the guys that he was in charge of our little group, he had an axe to grind with a couple of the fellows out there. And I wouldn't roll. So when I say that, I wouldn't turn my guys in, whether or not they were started it or didn't start it. I wasn't going to hold the party line in the context of, we got in a fight. And
how'd you guys do?
We did okay. I mean, one of the guys had a portion of his ear ripped off and had his ocular sockets broken. We got sprayed with pepper spray. I mean, it was a legit fight.
Like, it seems kind of random that a group of Russians has pepper spray in the 2 a.m. downtown Jerusalem, just happens to run into a group of agency guys crossing the street. It's sounding suspect to me.
Yeah, it is. And from there on, I had a staff guy that really, he and I, we were at odds the rest of the time that I was there. Yeah. And
but did you think it was, hey, this is just random? This is just random?
No, he was using that as a catalyst to get.
No, I mean the Russians that happened.
Yeah, it was fairly random. I mean, we were in a Russian bar. We were drinking. We probably shouldn't have been drinking. All this stuff.
A Russian bar, so not like a Russian spa, a Russian bar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was always a good fun. I mean, it was always good fun.
Great selection of vodka.
You knew that you were gonna. There are a couple things that were gonna happen if you went to the Russian bar. One, you're gonna get really drunk. Two, you're probably going to get in a fight. So it wasn't random.
I see.
It's just really bad decisions by 20 something.
They call it snowballing.
Yeah, and for me, it was more around it was very infrequent for me to do things like this to begin with. But there's one of my guys there that I still have a ton of respect for and love him to this day. He was probably responsible for the whole thing, but there's no way I was gonna say that. And then
It's a possibility.
It's a possibility.
You don't know for sure.
I don't know for sure. And that just, you know what, for me, there's a point of reference that, you go to bat for your dudes, because at the end of the day, these are the guys that are also going to save your life. Yeah. These are the guys that are also going to have to step up and, watch your six when you're down range in a gunfight. And if you're not willing to do that in the office, they're not going to do that when you're in a gunfight. So at the end of the day, did it cost me? Yeah, it sure did. But I was ready to leave either way. I was ready to go.
Did you know what you were going to do?
No, I was like, I'll figure it out. Like I truly had no real plan. But I figured, at the end of the day, it's like if you go to law school or, go back and do something else, there's a million different things you can do. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just a matter of like, do you have the curiosity? Do you have the drive? The business, from a business perspective, I wanted to work for myself. I wanted to essentially be my boss. Mm-hmm. And that gave me a sense of freedom where, it's kind of teach a man to fish, right? Mm-hmm. They'll eat for the rest of their life. It's the same thing where it's like, if you understand business and you understand how to make money, mm-hmm. you can feed yourself or your family forever. And, the business practices and principles that you'll learn, you won't need, you won't need to go and find another job. More importantly for me, when I left, what I said was, I will never allow another man to be responsible for my professional future. So I will never be beholden to another person that can put my professional jeopardy or my professional life at jeopardy. I will never put myself into a position like that ever again. So it was a really profound experience for me. Yeah. Because when you do things that what you feel are the hard right or the easy wrong, and you do that a lot, you put your professional development at risk. And definitely in government organizations, you're not making friends and being a politician. Like for me, it was more about the mission. And when you do that, you're also going to be at odds with a lot of people. When you call bullshit on the me's, try to really focus on the mission, you're going to butt heads. Yeah. And when you butt heads, you jeopardize your future professional development. You do. Like you're going to, especially in different places like the government. So at that point it was, can't do that anymore.
Off you go.
Yeah.
Did you go back to Idaho? What did you do? What was the first? I came here. Right here to Utah. And what was the first business venture?
Twist rate. So I had been working on a covert communication antenna for the last couple of years on my side project.
No way.
With a company out of here, and I met some guys out of Utah that had this. It was basically an antenna that you could use in a rattle can. You could like rattle it up, spray it on a wall, hook an EKG lead onto it, and do covert comms. And I met those guys. They were
LPI, LPD, low probability
interception,
low probability detection.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that one I pulled out
look
right
at
there.
you. Yeah, so
still there.
I met him, and I was like, you know what? I'll go try this out. And I pitched them on this idea around an idea that there was a crowdfunding site for defense-related technologies, so firearms and defense-related technologies, because Kickstarter at the time wouldn't allow you to do that. So, in being downrange, as much as I had, we would see this happen multiple times. These companies would come in, and they would take an idea from an operator, they would suck that idea up, and then they would patent it, and then they would monetize it, and they would sell it back to the government. I was like, that's bullshit.
Yeah, that happened once or twice.
Yeah, it happened the entire GWAT, right? So for me, I said, well, why are these companies, reaping the direct benefit of operators' intellectual property? So we should start something that helps them out.
Yeah. What was it called?
Twist rate.
Twist rate. What happened to it?
Didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.